Coming up on Carolina Week, President Biden and Vice President Harris back in the Tar Heel State, but not without protest. And
we have officially lost stability, and our hope is dripping down the drain.
While HBCU applications in the state are up, students at one school are looking for a different alternative. And Covering Carolina travels back to the 1940s, visiting a unique Pittsburgh soda shop.
From the UNC Hussman School of Journalism and Media, connecting Carolina's campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
It is a wet Wednesday morning here at UNC's campus.
You are looking live right outside the studio where the rain has sizzled down a bit. You can see people walking to class, but we'll have more on that later. I'm Isha Patanaik, and this is Carolina Week.
And I'm Christian Phillips.
Election Day is 226 days away, but the presidential campaigns are already in full swing. The rematch between President Biden and former President Trump is already set, with each candidate being the presumptive nominee for their party.
And as election season ramps up, Vice President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris were back in the triangle this week. Both visited Raleigh once before this year, but yesterday marked the first time the pair visited together. CW's Mayor Fumette was there when the pair made their way to the Old North State to talk to voters about health care and to make their case in the run-up to November's election.
President Biden and Vice President Harris made their way to Raleigh to talk to potential voters of all ages about expanding affordable health care. Many came to see the president give remarks at Travis Community Center, including North Carolina Democrats Attorney General Josh Stein and Governor Roy Cooper.
Here goes tomorrow, we finally expanded Medicaid in North Carolina. Talking with people with tears running down their cheeks, many of them getting health insurance for the first time in their adult life.
The president focused his remarks mainly on health care expansion while referring to the former president's stance on issues such as abortion.
Obamacare. And as many of you know, I thought it was a big deal. Donald Trump and his MAGA friends are, if nothing but persistent. They've tried to repeal it 50 times, not a joke.
While Biden wanted to focus on health care, some wanted to focus on something else.
The insurance company considered those a pre-existing condition, but allowed them to deny them.
What about the health care in Gaza?
Everybody deserves health care.
Hospitals in Gaza are being bombed! Do this money that can go for here.
Protesters wanting attention on the war in Gaza, they were escorted out.
They have a point. We need to get a lot more care into this.
One of the many contentious issues he will face in the months to come on the campaign trail as he courts future voters of all ages. Reporting for Carolina Week in Raleigh, I'm Mayor Fumette.
Before Biden boarded Air Force One for North Carolina, he gave a short press conference on the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. The bridge collapsed after accidentally being struck by a large cargo ship in the early hours of Tuesday morning.
8 people were on the bridge when it collapsed, and 2 have been rescued so far, according to officials. The other 6 are presumed dead. Maryland Governor Wes Moore says that the ship lost power and gave a mayday before hitting the bridge, which allowed officials to stop traffic.
So in the face of heartbreak, we come together. We embrace one another, and we come back stronger.
An investigation into the crash is being led by the NTSB. Now, on more national news, on both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats need voters to turn out in November in battleground states like North Carolina.
CW's Sarah Thompson reports how UNC's Young Democrats and UNC's GOP members are prepping for the 2024 election.
While the 2024 election is 8 months away, Political party student organizations at UNC are working hard to connect with voters now on key issues and candidates in preparation. With a rematch of candidates in the upcoming election, some voters are feeling uninterested in voting.
Sometimes it forces us to feel a little complacent.
UNC's Young Democrats and GOP are trying to change these feelings about the election. The UNC Young Democrats invited 56th District NC House Representative Alan Bouansey to talk to them about what they can do to make the changes they want to see. They also organized a phone bank to get voters excited about NC District 25 candidate Lorenza Wilkins.
There's so many little ways to get involved, even just local and statewide politics. But we definitely encourage people to just show up.
Voters our age are very hesitant to go out and actually vote. Us consistently contacting and giving them information that is helpful will allow them to think that the voting in elections, all the information that they're seeing is a lot more easy.
UNC's Republican student organization, UNC GOP, encourages their members to follow key issues like the right to freedom of speech by posting and reposting events on their social media. A member of the UNC GOP told me, quote, "The organization is working to host various speakers, including candidates, to engage with the community and allow students direct access to those running." In Chapel Hill, I'm Sarah Thompson, Carolina Week.
CW will bring you a special edition on young voters at the end of the semester. Democratic Representative Michael Ray has now conceded his race. Monday's concession comes after he filed protests in the northeastern 27th House District, where he trailed primary challenger Rodney Pierce by 35 votes. Recounts requested by Ray did not change the result of the race. The North Carolina Board of Elections certified the results from this month's primary just yesterday. And with no Republican challenger in November, Pierce is slated to head to Raleigh in January.
Behind me, you can see the members of the Chancellor's Search Committee who have now had their first official meeting. President Peter Hans delivered a charge to the committee that asked them to maintain confidentiality and described what he's looking for in the next leader of the university, including integrity, commitment, and a comfort with public scrutiny. The committee also outlined the process it will use to screen and select applicants. Members plan to hold listening sessions starting April 1st with UNC student government to get input. They're aiming to elect a new chancellor by the end of the year.
Another school in the Triangle is searching for a new lease on life. St. Augustine's University is facing fallout after losing its accreditation. Wake County Public Schools will end its early college program with the school as a result. CW's Chris Williams has been following the issue and joins us now in studio. Chris, what's the latest?
The biggest question for parents is what's next for their students. The school system said early college students would be able to take classes at Wake Tech next school year. The school district says this is the best option available because there isn't enough time to partner with another four-year university by the start of next school year. Still, some students and parents say this solution isn't enough.
Be able to transfer out of state or even out of the UNC system like they would have at St. Augustine's. We as students, as one of the most affected parties in this situation, don't have a clear understanding of how your decisions will shape our future.
The school system also published a Q&A document that revealed the Board of Education is still looking for a campus to house these students next year. The board didn't say yet whether students would attend one centrally located high school or the Wake Tech campus closest to their homes. They did say, though, that they would make an announcement within the next few weeks. Definitely a tough break for these students.
Thanks, Chris. You really feel for these folks. They didn't sign up for this.
I know. I hope the resolution, or they find a solution to this problem soon for the sake of these students. Well, while St. Aug's is struggling, some historically black colleges in North Carolina have seen an increase in applications since the Supreme Court's decision on affirmative action last year. CW's Noelle Harris explains why this may be happening.
When Charlotte High School senior Nadia Sasay first heard the U.S. Supreme Court ruled affirmative action unconstitutional, she said she was elated.
No, you can't throw it in my face. You're here because you're black. I'm here because I deserve it.
But shortly after, the high school student began to fear that the decision is making it harder for people of color to get accepted into predominantly white institutions, something she did not see coming.
I'm telling you, people with 6-page resumes, like these people are stacked, very hardworking students. A lot of them got rejected.
Sasay said she applied to several predominantly white institutions, including UNC, but her list also included a handful of historically black colleges and universities. She said she believes other applicants of color will turn to HBCUs where they will not feel like a statistic.
We're going to see more people choosing not to just be a statistic or choosing not to just be tolerated, but to go where they're wanted.
The number of NC HBCU applications has increased since the decision, according to several NC admissions offices. Winston-Salem State University's Director of Communications and Media Relations said the school has seen a 41% increase in graduate applications. North Carolina Central University has received 32% more than the previous cycle, according to their Director of Communications and Marketing. Carolina Week reached out to UNC System Media Relations, and they said there is no evidence of the connection between the June decision and the increase in applications at these schools. UNC junior Yasmin Thigpen said that the incoming freshmen are dealing with problems her class did not have to face. She says she only applied to one HBCU, but thinks if she were in their position, she would have applied to more.
And I would want to greater my chances and apply to more schools, like apply to more HBCUs.
Sasay said she thinks that diversity at predominantly white schools will be affected as well. She believes that lack of people of color will cause the university and campus relations to suffer. Reporting for Carolina Week, I'm Noelle Harris.
Well, North Carolina has more four-year HBCUs than any other state in the nation and is home to the largest HBCU in the country. The newest state budget allocates over $60 million over the next 2 years to HBCUs in the state.
But the Biden administration says the state has shortchanged over $2 billion over the past 30 years alone. In a story we've continued to follow, public school educators and workers in Durham are voicing their concerns for next year's budget. On Thursday, the union gathered outside the DPS board meeting to advocate for raises for all staff, increased staffing in buildings, more teacher work days, a meet confer policy, and financial transparency.
The protest comes shortly after the Durham Public Schools Board of Education approved an 11% raise for classified staffers for the rest of the academic year following a pay dispute.
The key missing ingredient right now is trust. Yeah. Would you agree? Yeah. Absolutely. Our union, our worker organization, does not have access to basic financial information that we would need to engage in decision-making as informed, equal partners.
Stabilizers. We reached out to the DPS Board of Education, but did not receive a response for comment. The board will vote on the budget later next month.
And coming up on Carolina Week.
The Tar Heels are still dancing, moving on to the Sweet 16 this weekend after beating Michigan State. And a long weekend starts with some rainy weather.
Your 7-day forecast when we return. Stay with us.
As you can see, it's still pouring right now.
Yep, plenty of people walking by with their umbrellas out.
At least it's not raining as hard as it was, so at least we have that.
Absolutely. Stay with us.
What's up? Name's Chet Riley. Been vaping for about 5 years, I think.
What about other people? What do they think about vaping?
Definitely on the same page as me. I mean, everybody does it.
Yeah, it's giving just kind of sleazy, sketchy, creepy. I don't want to be with him.
I think he's just trying to be cool. Like, he's forcing it too much. Like, it just looks sad at that rate.
He seems a little insecure. He seems like he's fronting a little bit, so that's just my perspective.
I see the vape, and personally, I'm just like, as someone who's in healthcare, studying nursing, I'm like, oh, that's just really unhealthy for you and can really cause permanent damage to your lungs.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. Students, entrepreneurs, and government leaders converged at UNC to scale clean technologies across the globe. Over 1,000 attendees met at UNC's 10th annual Clean Tech Summit on Thursday and Friday.
EPA Administrator Michael Regan and DOE Deputy Secretary David Turk spoke at the event. Key themes included scaling new technologies, fighting disproportionate effects of climate change, and how to include industries and communities vulnerable to the clean energy transition. The family of the late UNC student Elijah Jaden Hawkins Maynard is starting a foundation in his name. The former athlete died in a car accident in early October. Parents Almer and Rosalind Reddick started the Elijah Jaden Hawkins Maynard Foundation to promote a transformative impact in the community.
So far, the couple has raised $20,000 with the mission to enhance academic achievements, mentorship, community outreach, and benevolence. The family says the foundation is a beacon of hope and a life for the lost. The foundation's website plans to go live next week. The UN Security Council has passed a new Gaza ceasefire resolution. The United States abstained from the vote while all other members voted in favor of it. The resolution demands an immediate ceasefire leading to a permanent, sustainable one.
It also demands, quote, the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages and that all barriers are lifted to provide humanitarian assistance needed in Gaza. Israel, in response, canceled a delegation to the U.S. that had planned to discuss the country's operation in Rafah after the resolution passed.
The majority of Supreme Court justices appeared skeptical Tuesday of a nationwide ban on mifepristone, the primary drug used for U.S. medication abortions. Protesters rallied outside the Supreme Court Tuesday as justices heard oral arguments.
Just last year, a Texas district court judge ruled the FDA was wrong to approve mifepristone in 2000, and also when it expanded its use years later. If the High Court agrees with the appeals court, access to the drug might be limited. A final decision from the High Court is expected in July. The holy month of Ramadan is underway, and the Muslim community at UNC Chapel Hill is coming together to observe the spiritual tradition. Carolina Week reporter Musin Mahmoud has more on what it means for those that are fasting on campus.
La ilaha illallah.
Ramadan is a holy month in Islam. Muslims worldwide fast for 30 days from sunrise to sunset. Zaid Shabandri is a member at the Muslim Student Association at UNC. He says that people learning about why Muslims fast helps to address negative stereotypes.
Nowadays, there's a lot of false information out there. So when we talk about Islam, bring people together, there's less of a chance for, oh, look at these terrorists coming and doing this nonsense, right? But when there's like a personal connection between people, like, oh, you say, oh yeah, he's just human. He's just another one of us.
There are over 200 students at UNC who are part of the Muslim Student Association. But waking up for classes during Ramadan can be challenging.
I live in Cary, so I'm a commuter. So that has been a little bit difficult, coming from like 30 minutes away, coming to like a 9 a.m. class.
Muslims often look forward to breaking their fast with an evening meal called iftar, but those who live on campus have trouble finding a good meal.
There's a lot of Muslim students on campus, and unfortunately many of us are leaving our families that are making elaborate home-cooked meals, helping our families cook, to going to a college campus where dining halls close too early.
Sidra Ali works for the Residence Hall Association on campus. She helped plan and put on an iftar event last week by the Bell Tower for the Carolina community.
Everyone seemed to leave educated and happy that I had this event. And most of all, everyone's here with the community of other people who are fasting.
It is iftar events like this one that have made Ramadan easier for Muslims at UNC. Musin Mahmood, Carolina Week.
What a special way to help bring the UNC community together during this holy time. Well, it seems like the yellow coat on everything outside is currently being washed away by the rain, but still, pollen and allergy season is upon us.
I just can't get enough of that allergy medication. It's overwhelming.
I know. Well, meteorologist Megan Giller is here to tell you how to deal with the pollen.
Thanks, guys. For your Wednesday class forecast, we're going to be seeing a bit of a more dreary day today. It's going to be 58 by noon and only warming up to the lower 60s between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. today. That rain is going to stick around all day on Wednesday today, but it should leave around Thursday afternoon after 2 p.m. And then as that rain leaves, a high pressure system is going to come up and bring us a lovely sunny weekend ahead. Now, if you have really bad allergies like myself and you've been sneezing or itchy eyes, that's because we've had pretty high pollen counts for the last few weeks. Today it's going to be pretty high, but as that rain starts to wash it out on Thursday and Friday, we'll see more moderate allergy forecast for the pollen, but as we head into the rest of the week and into next week, we're going to start to see some more pollen out there. So definitely want to make sure you're trying to control those allergies by showering and changing clothes after being outdoors, checking the weather. Windier days can bring in more pollen, and keep your windows shut, and definitely want to make sure you're taking that allergy medication when you can. But for your 5-day forecast, we're going to be seeing some rain on Wednesday and Thursday. Like I said, temperatures roughly in the 60s. But as we move into the weekend, it's going to start to warm up. We're seeing 70 and sunny on Friday, and it's going to continue to warm up to 75 on Saturday and 78 by Sunday.
Sports anchor Daniel Masterson joining us now. Daniel, here's to hoping the weather looks better for the long weekend.
I sure hope so, because I look outside right now and all that rain, all I'm thinking is basketball season. The Carolina Tar Heels, they've got a matchup tomorrow night against Alabama. Going to be a huge game, but seeing all those umbrellas and rain jackets out there, I think I'd rather see some clear skies and some sun.
That'd be perfect weather for some soccer, and we'll hear more about that when we return in a few seconds.
The right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Today, we face an unprecedented crisis. Tens of millions of refugees have been forced from their homes. But you can make a difference. Turn disruption and despair to hope and opportunity. Even small amounts make a big difference. Provide shelter, support, or jobs in your community. The more we understand, the greater sense of belonging we create. Act now. Visit supportcrisisrelief.org.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. Daniel, I hear that international soccer is coming back to Chapel Hill.
Yeah, Isha, last year's treble winners, Manchester City, they're facing off against Celtic in Chapel Hill this July. It's the third meeting between the two teams. And last summer's match between Chelsea and Wrexham, it drew a sell-out crowd to Kenan Stadium. So tickets for this summer's game, they went on sale for students yesterday and for general admission this morning.
Well, back here in Chapel Hill, how are the Tar Heels looking? It's been a busy week in sports.
Yeah, no kidding, Christian. For the Tar Heels, top seeded in the West region, the UNC men's basketball team, they're looking to keep dancing in Los Angeles tomorrow night, where they will face off against Alabama in the Sweet 16. Coming off decisive victories in the opening rounds against Wagner and Michigan State, the Heels are looking for their second trip to the Elite Eight in the past 3 years. Carolina will need to bring their A-game defensively, as the Heels will be trying to slow down an explosive Alabama offense that leads the nation in points per game. Continuing to shoot the three effectively will also be key if the Heels want to play for a spot in the Final Four on Saturday night, as they combine to shoot close to 50% from beyond the arc in their opening round victories. Tip-off against the Crimson Tide is set for 9:39 Eastern at Crypto.com Arena. And the number 13 women's lacrosse team took on third-ranked Northwestern Monday in what was supposed to be a close match. Riley Casey started off the match strong for the Heels, grabbing the first goal of the game for Carolina and scoring her 8th of the season in the first 3 minutes. But Northwestern turned on the Jets in the second quarter, not letting Carolina score. But after the half, UNC's Darcy Felter came out strong, cutting straight to the goal and scoring this quick stick point against the Wildcats. But unfortunately, those Wildcats outplayed the Tar Heels and are heading back to Illinois with a 16-10 win. The Diamond Heels, they were seeking a 6th straight victory, and they welcomed the North Carolina A&T Aggies to the Bosch last night. The Aggies struck first with a hard-hit ground ball off the pitcher's leg, giving them a 1-0 lead. However, the Tar Heels answered in the second inning as Parks Harbor blasted this towering 2-run shot to put them ahead 2-1. And the Heels stayed hot in the 5th inning with back-to-back jacks by Alberto Osuna and Parks Harbor again, giving him his second on the night and extending their lead to 7-3. The Heels offense continued to stack runs, leading to a comfortable victory against the Aggies with a final score of 10-5. And to stick on the diamond, UNC softball will take on Notre Dame in a series this weekend. The Heels are coming off 2 wins in their series against Georgia Tech, and redshirt sophomore Isabella Emmerling had the hit that shifted the momentum in the series-winning game against the Yellow Jackets. Emmerling already has 38 RBIs on the season, and her hits are vital to bringing the Tar Heels to victory. Bailey McCochran won her first game in the circle since February 16th, following Kenna Ray Dark, who earned her second conference win of the year in the first game of the series against Georgia Tech. Pitches like these from McCochran earned her a career-high 7 strikeouts, and she could lead the Heels to victory against Notre Dame. The Heels will take on the Irish at home tomorrow at 5. Now, it's a holiday on Friday, so Sports Extra will be back on Monday to break down everything that happened in the NCAA tournament for the Tar Heels. We'll be right back.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Can you see anything different as a pill?
No.
You don't know?
Fentanyl is being mixed into everything now. There's only one thing that will save somebody's life. That is naloxone nasal spray.
Fentanyl, it's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
Really just all about the money.
I just didn't realize that one pill could change your whole life.
More kids should know.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. A new study shows female whales live longer because of menopause.
Researchers from Exeter in York and the Center for Whale Research say that living past their reproductive lifespan allows them to have more years to help their children and grandchildren. Females of 5 whale species that experience menopause lived 40 years longer than their counterparts.
And on this week's edition of Covering Carolina, I traveled to Pittsboro, North Carolina with Samantha Hoffman and Sarah Choi to a unique restaurant that still does things the old-fashioned way. We're in the heart of Pittsboro, North Carolina, here at S&T's Soda Shop.
Come with us as we take a step back to the 1940s.
S&T's Soda Shop opened in 1997 has been serving customers a wide variety of delicious food since, all within the backdrop of their 1940s-style restaurant. They are famous for their ice cream and food, especially their steaks or lasagna. And at the heart of it all is Vicki Oldham. She started the restaurant with her husband, Gene. And family has always been at the heart of the restaurant. S&T's is in fact named after the couple's sons, Steve and TJ. Gene passed away in 2020, and the family continues to run the store in his memory.
It's so important to me because they're doing what their dad wanted. And we all put so much in it that we're young. I'm so sorry. But to see them want to be here, I said, we don't have to do this. It's okay. We don't have to do this. And they said they wanted to. And they want to do it as long as they can. So to see them carry on makes me so proud.
And her sons love working with her too.
So I started working here when I was 10 years old. My dad opened it in 97 and about to be 37 this month. So 27 years I've been working here, and I am truly blessed to be able to work with my mom. She's very hardworking, compassionate. She really loves this town.
And it's the sense of family and nice people that keep customers coming back.
Well, the food's good. The atmosphere is wonderful. The people, I mean, these are the nicest people in the world, you know?
And why set the restaurant to a 1940s theme?
I don't know. I think the 50s was so much diner, black and white. And there was some more romance during the 40s era. Even the jukebox downstairs is a 1941 Wurlitzer.
The restaurant is the perfect place for Chapel Hill students and residents to get out and step back into a time seemingly forgotten elsewhere in this modern age, but certainly not at S&T's.
Well, Christian, it looks like you guys had an amazing time down there. Talk to me about the food. Did you get to try any?
You know, Vicki was so nice. She insisted that we try something. So, of course, we all had to try their famous lasagna. And it was incredible.
Oh, that sounds so good. I wish I had some on me right now. What are their other hot menu items that they have going?
Well, they're also famous for their steak, both of which are based off of a famous eatery on Franklin Street that closed years ago. They've mastered the recipe, and people travel from all over to Pittsburgh to try them both.
Okay, well, sounds like I'll probably have to go down there and try some of that. Well, I think that is all we have for you today on this rainy Wednesday evening or morning.
That's right, and that's the way it is here at UNC this Wednesday, March 27th. Stay dry.
Enjoy your wellness weekend, and if you're driving, stay safe, and we will see you next week.